What's happening, guys and girls? Wow, what to think about that then. What's happening, guys and girls? Welcome back to the channel. How is everyone? How is the quarantine going for you? I'm doing okay. It's beautiful and sunny out here in Ireland, and thank God I have some space and I'm still able to drive my car. But I know there's probably a lot of you out there that are not in the same position, so I'm just like sending love your way before we get into this video, because like even I'm starting to crack up a little bit. I've started baking, I suck at it. So for today's video, I was gonna look at the differences between my F80 and the E90 series M3, so E92 M3, because James has an E92 M3, I have an F80 M3, and yeah, I think it's always good to sort of look at a predecessor and its successor to kind of see which one you would prefer over the two. Personally, for me, I did actually look at E92 M3s, but it was the F80 that kind of took over. It was actually a Chris Harris, I think 2014 film he made on the F80 M3, to which I was like, huh, okay, I really, really like this car. And I remember seeing that and I was like, I'm gonna have one of those when I'm older. Fast forward, now I'm older and I've got one. I'm now sat here going, should I have gone for the E92 M3? Because, you know, obviously V8, naturally aspirated, in a manual version, which is what I'm going to be driving today. But to be fair, like, asking which one is your favourite M car is like asking, you know, which one's your favourite dog. It's very difficult because all of them each have their own characteristics, you know, beginning with the original, which is considered my holy grail, you know, 1986, when the first E30 M3, the 3 Series M car that we've come to know and love, was brought out. From then on, you've had a succession of different, you know, 3 Series. When I say M cars, I'm going to say as in 3 Series M cars before someone goes, it's not M car. It's an M1, blah, 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 all the rest of it. I'm talking about 3 Series in this video. So obviously you got the 36, the 46, the E92, E90 series, and then the F80. Personally, I loved something very special about each one. I would say the E36, like that's a car right now which is really, really coming up. Like I'm seeing a lot of people buying those up. And obviously E30 M3s are mad expensive, like the Sport Evolution that I want. I saw one up for sale the other day. I think it was like £176,000. Not yet. So anyway, back to the video. F80 versus E92. I'm gonna go out, give them a drive, have a look, see what I think really. Obviously, the car that I will be driving is, first of all, the big difference is different engine, different transmission. His is a manual, mine's a DCT, and also his is slightly modified and mine is standard. So this, as far as laboratory variables go, is, yeah, it's not the best, but we'll make a video out of it. It's gonna be fine. Okay, here are our crown jewels outside the house. So, obviously, this one is my car. This is a 2016 F80 M3. She is 425 brakes. She's also a DCT transmission, and that is all coming from an inline 6 3-litre twin turbo engine, which is all parked in there. Here we have James's 2008 M3, finished in Le Mans blue, pretty sure, and that's a 4-litre V8 with a manual transmission. Obviously the two cars are, you can tell that they're brothers, but they're obviously slightly different. I mean, as I said, 2008, 2016, there's 8 years between these cars and quite a few differences. This is fully standard, bar a few little bits that you know under the hood. This has had quite a few bits and bobs done to it. This is definitely a aftermarket splitter on the front. It's got some BC coilovers on it. It's also it's got 720 wheels on it as well. He's only just put those on, I just realised. And he's also taken off and de-chromed bits and bobs here and there. It's also got a lovely ARC exhaust system, which sounds wicked, which I will show you in just a bit. Other thing, obviously, between the two cars, controversial when they did it, but the E90 series was obviously a 2-door coupe, and then they came to the F80 and made it the M4, which then was the 2-door for the M4, and then the 4-door was the M3. There is a reason why I went for the M3, because I think this suits being a 2-door, but I really don't like the proportions of the M4. Even though it's ostensibly the same car, same drivetrain, same transmission, I just personally preferred that angle. You know, the hips on the car with the 4 doors. And it's practical. You know, one day I might want a baby. Not yet. Don't even start getting into that conversation online. Jesus. Okay, locked the farmhouse up. Let's go take this little bad boy for a drive. I don't know why I'm wearing my Puma Motorsport BMW jacket. Look at that, I am a fan, ladies and gentlemen, a fan. Okay, so obviously first major thing is we have the addition in this car of a clutch and a manual gearbox. Now I have to admit, I picked the F80 with the DCT because I'm lazy. I just wanted a car for once that I didn't have to think about when I was driving in London. So having a manual was just not really on the cards for me. But I have seen a couple of F80 manuals. Oh gosh, we have a one of those. I have seen a couple of F80 manuals for sale, and that would be quite an interesting car. I'm gonna have to just, sorry about that, James. I have to admit, there is something about having a manual gearbox, because the one thing I have found in the F80 is, like, if you are like coming out of a junction in first gear or something, the nature of the DCT is like it'll spin up in first and it won't necessarily lock both wheels, but then if you click it into second, it then just locks both wheels, and it's quite dicey. I mean, good fun if you know what you're doing, but I can imagine that, yeah, with having a manual box and a clutch, you can actually, you know, decide when you want the car to break traction, instead of the car essentially you're just holding on until you're like, oh, there it goes, which is quite fun. I just think, are you a manual person or are you a DCT transmission type person? You know, I just think personally I do enjoy a manual because that's for good fun, but for driving every day you want the DCT. But because you're not going to be driving this every day, this is kind of a fun weekend car. It's something that you can take out and take it for a spin, feel a bit naughty, and then quickly put it away again. Yeah, the wonderful thing about this car is definitely the noise. That's the first thing that really sort of catches your senses with this thing, is like that V8 noise. That's something that I do think the F80 really does miss, is having like a particular burble to it. That is what you pay for. Like, you want that noise. That is the thing that really, really excites you about it. It's just delicious, really, isn't it? When you've got something like that under your right foot, it does encourage you to, in some ways, behave a little bit more naughtily on the road. Thing as well, it's just very tempting all the time. Like, you just can't help yourself but to just... Having been out in the E92, I guess the best thing that I could do is to now jump into my F80 and take it for a drive. Even though, do you know what, after driving the E92, I know what I love about it, and I know what I love about the car. I love the heart of the E92, but I love the exterior and the styling and everything else that comes with the F80. But I will admit, the drive is it's quite exciting, isn't it? But we're going to take the F80 out now and just take her for a quick spin, just to get reacquainted. I don't think I'll be buying an E92 over an F80 anytime soon, but I have to admit, I'm very lucky. At least I have the option of driving both. Difference in the two cars to me is just immediately obvious. That might sound silly, I know what you're thinking, you're like, well, duh. But even just in the way this one feels in my hands, like, there's something a lot more analog about the E92, whereas the F80 provides a more digital perspective. Now, I don't know if you know what that means or if you understand what I mean by that, but I do. I very much love the drivetrain of the E92, but I prefer the way that the F80 handles. How many people are gonna like absolutely slay me for saying that? Maybe it's because it's my car and I've been driving it for a good few months now. God, I must have had it 6 months. I just love the way this car drives, especially with the gearbox. Like, I'm so used to sort of doing round town mileage where I have to be careful, and you know, I'm constantly on and off the clutch normally, especially when I'm in the E21, and to have this is an absolute dream. So it's definitely a horses for courses, and it's your environment which dictates which car that you prefer. The F80 to me was the car that I wanted as I got older. It was the one that I looked at, and you know, it's just good to finally achieve a goal. But as I get older, I think I'm going to want to explore the different you know, the different versions of the M car that are available to us. Oh, I'm about to get fucking... Oh my god, the neighbours do not love me. But anyway guys, that's me for today. I am actually going to have to finally head up to Aldi because I am definitely stretching out my trip to the shops a little bit longer than I should be. Stay tuned. I hope you guys are all doing okay out there, and I'll be back next week for another video. Stay safe. I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.